Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to dive straight into it, talking about the other side of the synergies, what I'm calling classes. There are elements and classes, things like Fire, Water, Earth, and then Rogue, Bulwark, and like Juggernaut and stuff like that. I'm going to jump straight into it. I'm going to make up a tier list. We're also going to talk through kind of what I think of the abilities and what we've seen so far. And as always, welcome back. I'm Scoriox. I like to do the maths, and you guys do the degen. As always, this is not financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor, and please always do your own research, especially when it comes to risky crypto assets. Let's do it. So as always, if you could please subscribe and like down below, I really appreciate it. It always helps so much. You guys are going to really love what I have to talk about today. Like I said, yesterday's video, I covered all the elements and kind of how I think they're going to play out. Turns out I thought that the fire elements were probably going to be stronger than the others, at least to begin with. I'm definitely going to be talking about this sort of stuff today as well. If you want to see that other video, I'm going to chuck up a thingy up in the top right hand corner. And you guys are going to be able to go over there and have a look at that one first, because it's going to explain a lot of the synergy stuff better, even though I'll briefly cover it now as well. But for what we know with synergies, basically you have things like the Fighter, Bulwark, and Rogue, and they have a little icon here. It's like 4 colored squares. And basically what you will need is you will need 4 fighters on the board to trigger that. Now, so in this column, you have all the things that incorporate fighter, and if you have them, I believe they will count towards the fighter count as well. So your Berserker will count as 1 fighter, so will your Slayer and your Templar, but they don't get the fighter bonus. That's just if you have a fighter to gain from that. These Berserkers and things need other Berserkers to give them that bonus. This could change, and I could be slightly wrong because it's still a bit hazy to me, but I'm definitely researching it and figuring it out. But yes, so I'm definitely going to keep that in consideration when I'm making my tier list, because how hard it is to initiate a certain synergy plays a large role in how effective I think it could be and how powerful it could be on the field. As you can see, anything with text under it is what we do have information for and what we kind of know what the synergy does. Everything else we do not know yet. So probably 70% of it's yet to be revealed, or maybe 60%. And it's definitely going to be very exciting when we have even more information at our disposal. So please check out the other video. I explain that in a bit more depth, but basically you put your Illuvials on the board and then they synergize with each other in different ways. And they usually, so something like a Berserker, or let's say a Dreadnought, is a combination of Bulwark and Fighter. It will often have, some of these have kind of 3 little abilities or 1 larger ability. So a Dreadnought might have abilities where it gets damage resistance as kind of like Bulwark per Bulwark. It also gets some extra damage from the fighter classes around it. And then it has its own Dreadnought ability. We don't currently know what that is. Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe the more damage they reduce, then the more damage they output. That could be a really interesting ability, but we'll have to find out. There's definitely lots of room for theory crafting in the future, and I'm very excited to get into it. I also plan on getting on some guests and things to help me out with it. So it'll be a lot of fun to have these discussions in the Discord and on the channel. And if anyone really has some crazy ideas that they want to talk to me about, just shoot me a DM in the Discord. You can find me in there, scoriox.nft. And yeah, I'm always happy to hear some opinions. If I take a little while to respond, well, I have a lot of messages going for a lot of different things at any given time. All right, so without further ado, let's have a look at it. So here is the current tier list. I'm going to go through these again. I have S for overpowered. I think it'll be really strong to begin with, but once the abilities come out, we'll find out, I guess. There's no telling what's going to happen. I think they're going to be quite strong and they could stand on their own 2 feet. But you start getting towards this bottom half of the tiers and you've got things that I think they either need really good synergy around them to make them work really well, or they just won't really add much to the team in general. And that's what you got those last 3 for. You can see them on there. B is needs good synergy. C may surprise me down the road, but I don't think it's very good. And D, who knows what's going to happen with it. I'm not going to say it's terrible. I think everything is going to have a use in this game. I know Aaron and Kieran are working really hard to make that the case. I'm very excited to see that happen. I talk really fast sometimes. Sorry, I will get better at that. Okay. This is like my 35th video, I think. Almost on 50. I have to do something special for 50, I reckon. Alright, so let's start off with the 5 basic ones. So I'm just going to chuck my synergy up the top. The 5 basic ones. We've got Fighter, Bulwark, Rogue, Scion, and Empath. Actually, really quickly, I did want to point out some stuff with these synergies, right? Oh, whoops. There we go. So, some of the designs, I really wanted to talk about them. I think they're really, really cool icon designs. I come from a design background, so I tend to look at these things quite closely. But the one that really made this obvious to me to begin with was the Bulwark ones, right? You see the 5 Bulwarks. You've got Aegis, Harbinger, Vanguard, Juggernaut, and Dreadnought. And you'll notice every single one of them has a shield. And then when they interact with the other synergies, so with Juggernaut, it's just 2 shields, because 2 Bulwarks. With Dreadnought, you've got the symbology of the fighter inside the shield. Vanguard, you've got the shock symbol for Rogue inside the shield. Harbinger, you've got pretty much the Scion icon inside it. And Aegis, you've pretty much got half the Empath icon inside the shield. Just take that in for a minute. I know it doesn't seem like much when you first look at it. And it seems like, oh yeah, they made some icons, it looks great. They just combined a couple things and made them look cool. That is a big, big part of game design. That is extremely important. When you go into a game, especially as a new player, and you're like, the word Harbinger, that means nothing to me. I don't know what that does off the bat. I don't want to read 20 pages of text explaining the ability. That icon, you only need to know the initial 5, and that icon tells you what it does. It tells you that it has something to do with the Scion and Bulwark. In this case, damage reduction and extra Omega power. And now you know Harbinger does that from this little icon. That is all you need to understand it. And that is powerful. Very, very powerful. I think they've done an excellent job with these designs here. And I'm really kudos to the team. This is going to make a big impact on how easy it is to play the game. You can see there are 20 synergies here. That's not easy for a lot of people to comprehend. So it's the little things like this that are going to really make a big difference in the overall scheme of things. I'm very excited for this game, if you guys couldn't tell already. Alright, so the Fighter. Where are we going to chuck him? So the Fighter, every 5 attacks, does extra damage and physical piercing. Now I think that's like lethality and teamfight tactics. Teamfight tactics has really similar systems to this game. Basically, yeah, you have your synergies and you have things like attack damage, ability power, and so on. But I'm going to try and go outside of that and just use simpler terms for this. But basically, every 5 attacks, you would have a special attack that does extra damage and probably ignores a certain degree of your opponent's armor. Some of this is speculative because we're not confirmed on those sorts of details, but it's likely that that's what it is. So extra damage every 5 attacks. It takes 4 to trigger it. I'm not loving this. It's probably going to be high in B, but I think it could take a bit too long to trigger. But who knows? It might surprise me. It depends how much damage it adds on, really. So Bulwark. You get physical and energy resist. Basically, you resist extra magic damage and you resist extra physical damage. And it also grants max health. That's a lot of boosts for one thing. It doesn't seem like much, but I think this is going to be a really great way to build out tanks. This is going to make a lot more sense for everyone that saw yesterday's video, but the ways these are going to synergize with the elemental synergies is going to be really important. I mentioned in that video that I didn't think the Earth synergy was that good on its own because it would kind of take up your entire field. But the bulwark synergies, the defensive class synergies, in conjunction with some of your offensive element synergies, might make a really good combination so that you get the best of both worlds. And that's kind of where all this is going to come into play with. Eventually going to have like 10 synergies triggered. It's going to be crazy. But I definitely think that's an A. If I don't have enough S's, I might move it up. I think it's really good. The rogue synergy. Okay. So this gives you more precision. Maybe that's accuracy or armor, ignoring armor. We don't quite know yet. And it's going to have an execute threshold. So when your opponents fall below a certain percentage of health, it's going to instantly kill them. In my past experience with teamfight tactics and their similar setups for executions, it hasn't really been that effective from my experience. But I think this could surprise us. That being said, it's got 4 cost. I'm going to chuck it above fighter, but I don't think it's going to go any higher than that for sure. Scion. This grants you extra Omega power. I think the Illuvials, the main reason you're going to pick them is going to be for their Omega ability for the most part. So I think extra Omega power is going to be really, really useful. But you need 6 Scions to trigger this. I personally still think it's going to be really strong, so I'm going to leave it right in A. But it takes 6 Illuvials, so definitely worth keeping in mind. Empath. This basically, every now and then, your Illuvial will give an ally a shield. Now, here's the kicker. It looks like, from what I can see, you only need 1 empath. You only need 1 to trigger this ability. I don't know if the shield's going to be really that useful, but the fact that you can chuck this on the board and it's doing something for you straight away, I've got high hopes for this one. If you can combine it with some of those water affinities and things where you get extra energy over time, then all of a sudden these things are granting shields left, right, and center really fast. So I think it could be really cool. Okay, the Berserker. We don't have the details for this one yet, but it's the fighter times fighter. So basically they'd be doing heaps and heaps of damage. I'm definitely going to put it above fighter and rogue. I might actually chuck it up the top here, but I'm not convinced it's going to be that great. Although I think it really will have a really great secondary ability. So until I see that, I'm going to have to leave it here, unfortunately. But it could easily go up for sure. Dreadnought. This is fighter and bulwark. So a tank that can deal a lot of damage is a pretty big deal. That could come in handy, but personally I like my units at the back to be my damage dealers. So because the units at the front die first. So you don't really want your too much reliance on defeating the opponent team with your frontliners. So I'm going to leave Dreadnought here just because it's 6 cost. Otherwise I might move it a bit higher. But I like to leave my tanks as tanks. And maybe that's my Pokemon background. I really love bulky Pokemon. Okay, Slayer. Slayer is rogue by fighter. So basically you'd be getting more precision, probably not the execute threshold anymore, and you'd be doing extra damage. So that's pretty much removing armor on top of removing armor on top of removing armor. It's a very assassin type thing. I'm going to chuck it up here because it's a 4 cost. I think it could be really good. I'm really top heavy now. These all seem really powerful. Okay, Arcanite. This is Scion by fighter. Now this one's really interesting. It's Scion by fighter. And I'm pretty sure Scoriox is an Arcanite, so this has to go up the top. But you only need 1 Alluvial to trigger it. I don't know what its ability is going to do. We don't know that yet. I'm hoping it's good, but this just leaves a lot to see. Because I think Scion is really, really good. I don't think that much a fighter, but just because it's 4 cost. This thing could be great. Definitely keep an eye on Arcanite. Templar. Templar is empath by fighter. This went the opposite direction. Empath had nothing to lots of Templar. And Scion had a lot with nothing on Arcanite. I don't know. I don't know what the plan was there. Maybe they're mixed up. Probably not though. But Templar, basically, you're going to be strong and giving people shields, and it costs a lot. I don't think this is going to be very good. We don't know what it does yet, but hopefully it does something really good. Maybe when you deal a lot of damage, it grants shields to everyone. That'd be pretty cool. But until then, Juggernaut. So we know what this one does. Basically, you get extra physical and energy resistance, just like Bulwark, and you start with Indomitable and Unrelenting. It doesn't actually say what they are, but I'm assuming you're pretty much untouchable for a certain period of time. And from the doc, I think it said 5 seconds for the initial synergy. 5 seconds of not taking any damage when you're a tank is a long time. Is a very long time. I think they'd have to reduce that, but we'll see how it plays out. But I'm going to chuck Juggernaut at the top. Really, really looking forward to that one. Vanguard is Rogue cross Bulwark, and basically you'd have more precision and you'd also have a bit of resistance. I'm not loving that. I'm going to chuck it above Templar. I might even just chuck Templar down here, but I don't see how dealing extra damage through armor and being armored is particularly helpful. But maybe the ability would be good. Like all of these, the ability could really determine what makes it a really good ability, for the same reason I put Juggernaut right at the top. Okay, Harbinger. We don't know this one yet. I really like this icon though. I really love all these icons, as I said before. They're very cool. But this would be Scion and Bulwark. So you'd have extra Omega power and some sort of resistance. Maybe when you use your Omega ability, everyone gets a buff that makes them super defensive. That'd be pretty cool. I'm going to leave this at the top of B, but with the 6 cost, I'm not really sure on it. Aegis. This has no cost to begin with, but can go really high. So I think that's what all the hollow ones mean. I still need to double check that, but basically, for the example of, say, Vanguard, you need 4 to initially get the bonus, and then on 5 and 6, or maybe just 6, you get another bonus on top of it. So for Aegis, this would be Empath cross Bulwark, which is shields and resistance, and you don't need anything to set it up. So I'm going to chuck this right up the top here above Bulwark. I think it could be really good. We'll have to see where that goes. Predator. So we do have the details on this one. The Predator gives you more precision and savagery on a takedown. Now everyone's been asking in the Discord, and maybe they got an answer on what savagery does. I think it's going to be something like it gives you a lot of attack damage at speed, and you just do extra damage for the next couple seconds, and you go really crazy. And given the name Predator, that makes a lot of sense to me. If that's the case, then I'm really liking this one. Even though it's a 6 cost, I think things like savagery in teamfight tactics have been very popular and very powerful in the past. So I'm going to actually chuck this one at the top. I think this is definitely one to watch, but still try and get that last bit of information if you can. Phantom. Okay, Phantom is Rogue by Scion. So basically, they would penetrate defenses better, probably, maybe have an execute threshold, and also extra Omega power. I think overall this could be quite good, but I'm really not sure where it might fit in all of this, so I'm going to chuck it in B for now. Revenant. So this is Empath cross Rogue, and we do have the ability for this one. So you get more precision, just like in Rogue, and you heal allies on takedown, and you boost your attack on a crit. So whenever you take someone out, everyone heals, and your attack is boosted whenever you deal a crit. So do you guys know where this one's going to go? This one's going to go right at the top. Because that just doesn't even sound fair. Does that sound fair to you guys? You get to heal everyone and you get extra damage over the course of the battle. That is a lot. I want to go straight for a Revenant. That is not fair. Alright, as always, if you're liking the video, please like and subscribe. I always appreciate it. It always makes my day seeing all the little comments and things and that are saying that you like the videos and even the feedback and everything as well. I really appreciate it. It's also awesome. Okay, so Revenant looks just dumb. They've got to change it, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? It might not be that good. Okay, Invoker. That is a cross of 2 Scions. So crap tons of power on your abilities, on your Omega ability at least. And I'm going to chuck that at the top of Strong. No. Who am I kidding? This is going to go up here above Juggernaut. I think that's going to be really good. Actually, I want to move one of these down because it's so top heavy, but I actually really like them all. I might move Predator to the top of A, but they're all really, really good so far and really have so many variabilities and capabilities that you could take into the battle. Okay, Enchanter. So we have this one. This is a cross of Empath and Scion. And on Omega Cast, you shield all allies based on the percentage of your max energy. So kind of like your ability power. And you increase all of their Omega power and their resistance to abilities and things like Omega damage and stuff like that. That's really crazy. When you cast your Omega, you give your whole team a bit of resistance and damage on the ability side of things. I think this is going to be really good, especially at 2 cost. I'm going to chuck it above Predator for now. But you can see my tier list is really filling up. I might move Berserker down and I might chuck Fighter up above Vanguard just to balance it out a little bit. Again, I don't think Fighter is going to be that good, not at 4 cost. Mystic. So Mystic is a cross of 2 empaths, and every 10 seconds you shield all allies and also give them attack speed, attack damage, energy damage, and Omega power. One more time. Every 10 seconds you give them a shield, and you also give them attack speed, damage, energy damage, and Omega power. Alright. I'm going to chuck this below Revenant, because Revenant's kind of my favorite at the moment. Let's just talk about that for a second. That is very powerful. That seems crazy on paper. But that's something that we need to really consider. We haven't seen the overall ability for most of these synergies yet. We have not seen it yet. Something like that could be on all of them. They could all be really powerful in the end. They're all quite good already. So we definitely need to wait to get more information, but I'm definitely going to be making more tier lists and things as I go, as we get more leaks and discussing these synergies and things. So if you guys want to see more information about the synergies and see me discuss them more and kind of my opinions on them, definitely leave a comment down below. DM me in the Discord if you want to talk to me about it, if you want to help me out on the channel with it as well. Maybe I can jump on with some people and we can all chat about it together in a stream. That could be a lot of fun. Just do some awesome theory crafting sessions together. Could be an awesome time. Alright, thanks everyone for watching. Again, it means a lot to me. I've got a poster arriving tomorrow. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but I have mentioned it to some people. Can't wait to put it on my wall. That bike is going to be gone. It's been there for ages. This was a bike I made in university. It was like a conceptual thing. I was pretty happy with it. I don't know if many of you noticed, but I actually just used the Horizon Zero Dawn graphics and things in the center. I think that'll make it for a really cool bike. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video. I hope that you'll watch that next video up in the top right hand corner, or don't, but I really do appreciate it. Please like and subscribe down below. I'll catch you all in the next one.